Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. In recent years, the United States has continued to increase its crackdown on Chinese companies, and Chinese high-tech companies are bearing the brunt. In order to suppress China's economic and high-tech development, the United States has successively formulated multiple batches of sanctions lists. More than 200 entities have been sanctioned, and a large number of high-tech companies including Huawei and ZTE, such as IFLYTEK, Megvii Technology, etc., and a large number of central enterprises have been included in the U.S. export control and other sanctions blacklists. Among these companies, there are many unicorn companies, and there are more than 200 star investment institutions behind them. Since the United States imposed sanctions on China, it has tasted the sweetness of imposing sanctions on Chinese companies, and has imposed sanctions on Chinese semiconductors more vigorously. In the face of these sanctions, Chinese semiconductor companies have sprung up like mushrooms. At the same time, Chinese semiconductor companies have also made great achievements. Some companies directly chose to raise prices in the face of U.S. sanctions. It is DJI drones. It is not the first time that the price of DJI drones has increased. In the face of U.S. sanctions, DJI drones have directly increased their prices and even increased their profits. More people know about the advantages and performance of DJI drones. This is the best publicity for DJI drones. The sales of DJI drones soared, and it directly topped the sales list of drones. This is also a face-to-face the best fight back against the U.S. chip bill. The ability of DJI drones to monopolize the global market in this way must be inseparable from technology. In the field of drones, he will rank first in the world with more than 5,000 patents. In addition to patents, DJI drones also have their own complete flight control, artificial intelligence, transmission, and a complete industrial chain are undoubtedly the confidence that DJI drones can directly increase prices in the face of U.S. sanctions. In the field of chips, the chips used by DJI drones are all domestically produced chips that can be completely replaced. They are all based on 14 nanometers and 28 nanometers chips. This range is not within the scope of sanctions for the time being. In the face of U.S. sanctions on China's semiconductor industry, it has had a lot of negative impacts, especially the blow to Huawei's 5G mobile phone production. After the launch of Huawei mobile phones from Mate 30 to Mate 40, it has become the top mobile phone sales list in the world. In 2022, the sales volume of mobile phones will fall out of the top 10. This data is regrettable. At the same time, it also sees the groundless hegemony of the United States to suppress advanced technology of other countries. This will be resisted by all mankind. The sustainable development of DJI drones is directly proportional to its own development strategy and technology investment. According to relevant data, DJI's annual R&D expenses are about 15% of the overall revenue, which is very high in the entire semiconductor industry. Yes, behind the success of every enterprise, in addition to the high R&D expenses, there is also the tireless investment of R&D personnel. These are the necessary conditions for the development, continuous development, and continuous innovation of an enterprise, even if there are occasional external conditions that hinder it. Will also be short-lived. In the face of US sanctions, Huawei not only did not back down, but instead increased its investment in R&D. As a global leader in communication technology, Huawei, in the face of US sanctions again and again, used its strength to counteract the encirclement and sanctions of the entire Western country. Huawei has survived for more than 3 years. I believe that in the near future, he will break out of the siege, stand on the top of the world's semiconductors again, and regain the glory that should belong to him. Now the biggest problem facing Huawei is the lack of advanced production. The chip process manufactures high-end chips below 5 nanometers. For example, 5G SoC Kirin chip. From the import and export data of semiconductor chips in 2020, the export data of semiconductor chips in the United States did not increase, but decreased, indicating that the dependence of Chinese companies on American chips is decreasing. And it also shows that what the United States is most worried about is happening. The semiconductor industry is on the rise, and it is a matter of time to get rid of the patent control that the United States should have, and I believe this day will not be far away. In terms of process, the process of 5 nanometers machine below 5 nanometers is mainly used in the chip field with high heat generation and high demand, such as the 5G SoC main chip of mobile phone, the graphics card chip of computer, and the CPU chip of computer. It's not that high. For example, most of the chips used in the automotive industry are 28 to 55 nanometer process. For example, in 2018, the global 28 nanometer process chip accounted for 20% of the global total chip production, and the 7 nanometer process also accounted for 2019. It is less than 30%. And it will be even lower after 2022 and 2023, because the 7 nanometers process chip now only has this technology, and the entire high-end chip field will decline after losing the Chinese market. After the chip bill, the United States will also lose its own allies, because the US chip bill itself is to consolidate the development of semiconductors in the United States, but at the expense of the interests of other countries, such as restricting ASML's sales of products, which is not good for ASML's small loss. At the same time, it is not conducive to the development of ASML. In such an unfriendly trade relationship, it is impossible for ASML to continue to own the Chinese market, so it is only a matter of time before their agreement is broken. In turn, it will take time for the United States to sanction Japan or the Netherlands. The time will verify. Thank you for watching this video.